Awesome. Thanks everybody for joining me. I think I know everybody a little bit except for Nick. Kent, you guys just kind of getting to know you. I know you through the X lines, but my name is Brent Miner. I coach basketball at Pacific University in beautiful Forest Grove, Oregon. So right there near Banks. I've been there 3 years. I was at Southern Oregon University prior to that, where we went my first year, we were really bad. And my last year, we were really good. So we got better each of those 5 years. And then I finished my master's degree. And the woman I was dating at the time, who's now my wife and mother of my daughter, was living in Portland. And I was down in Ashland. And so it was time to make a move or lose Nicole. And so I retired from coaching college down there, moved back to Portland, where I played at University of Portland. We use that term play a little loosely. I was on the team at University of Portland. I never started a game. I never got the right size uniform, but I was on the team for 2 years, Division I, as a 6'2", fairly athletic at the time, white guy. So I wasn't your stereotypical Division I player. And then I got into coaching right after that. Like I said, 5 years at Southern Oregon. Now I'm in my 3rd year at Pacific. When I was at SOU, I had a club team. 85% of the kids went on to play at some level of college. I had one kid go on and play at University of North Dakota, which is Division I. But I ran the Oregon Stars for 5 years. And we had kids from NAIA, D2. We just had a reunion the other night, which was pretty cool, of all the former Oregon Stars guys getting together, telling stories. But I love getting to develop kids. And I don't really even call this an AAU team that we're putting together, because there is kind of a negative connotation, stigma around AAU. So I think of it more like a club, a program. I know some of you guys know the name is going to be GRIT. We're going to wear GRIT on our chest, which is an acronym for gratitude, resiliency, intensity, togetherness. So I like wearing our core values on our chest. Gratitude, I'm thankful. You guys that know me know I'm very thankful for what I've been given. I don't take it for granted that I get to coach college basketball. I don't take it for granted that I get out of bed in the morning. I try to be thankful for the big things, the small things, and all the things in between. So gratitude, I wanted something that started with a G. And then resiliency, especially after a global pandemic, or maybe not after, but hopefully towards the tail end, if we can agree on that, of a pandemic, it's important to be resilient. And then intensity. Some people think I'm a little intense because I'm a pretty passionate guy, but I don't think you should live life lukewarm, or I'd rather be intense than being called lazy or anything but passionate. So the I, intensity, I think that's an important one. And togetherness, that's what I want to start this group. So we would do weekly Zoom calls with the players. We would have some parent sessions also, where we talk to the parents about how they can be helping prepare their son. So togetherness is really important to me. And that's why I think that AAU kind of gets this idea that it's going to be one-on-one, showcase the best player and let everybody else just stand around. That's not what this is going to be about. So GRIT will be about experience and development. So experience and development. I'm not the type that's going to stand up here and say exposure, especially not for an 8th grade team. Even in high school, my thing is about making an experience these kids will remember beyond their playing days, because they're going to end up not playing someday. Hopefully that's after a long professional career and they don't forget about Coach Miner. But realistically, it might be after college, maybe professionally. One of the kids on that Zoom call the other night from the Oregon Stars played 2 years in Germany. Now he's married. He's a teacher back in Roseburg. But that's what matters to me. And I think, Chris and Reed and Dean that's on, some of you guys know that that's what matters to me, is being invited to graduations, weddings, I was invited to 3 last summer. I only went to 1 because there was a global pandemic going on. But one of my former players that played for me at Southern Oregon just got married this last summer, and he's a Division I assistant coach now at Idaho State. So that was really a proud moment for me, a former player deciding to get into coaching who's now just skyrocketing up the coaching ranks. He'll be a head Division I college coach, no doubt in my mind. But those are the things that matter to me, and that's why I want to call it a club more than AAU program. We wear our core values on our chest, so it's not, we're not the, I've seen some bad names. I'm not going to throw any teams under the bus, but I've seen some bad team names. I don't know if there's any with the losers with a Z, but there's some pretty bad names for clubs out there or AAU teams. So we want to have kids that fit into this culture. And I think culture is something that professional teams have, high school teams have, college teams have, and clubs have. And a culture isn't just having the cool name. It's about your behaviors and your actions. So the culture of grit will be about the behaviors, the habits, and the actions that our players make. So that's what's really going to build it. Obviously, we're going to build it around gratitude, resiliency, intensity, and togetherness. But at the end of the day, it's about the actions of the players and families. And that's why I'm just meeting Nick and Kent and Harry and you guys, but I know Trevor and I've worked with him, and so he speaks very highly of you. And then I know most of the rest of you guys. So it's not just the kids. I'm recruiting to this thing because I'm going to charge, because I'm a poor college coach, so I can't just fund this on my own. I don't have Nike yet, or Adidas or anybody. So, but I'm not going to be getting rich off this, but I definitely can't just write the checks. So it's got to be kids and families. And I'm not going to be getting rich, so I'm not going to put up with parents or kids that aren't respectful to each other, to me, and to the game. And so I just got to lay that out there. I don't think there's going to be any issues, but I like to just try to over communicate expectations, and that way we're all on the same page. So the plan is, what we're going to do is have a retreat in May, and it'll be in Portland. We won't have to have the kids stay overnight. We might even go outside with our practices because of availability of gyms and COVID. So, but hopefully we can find a gym and we'll wear masks and we'll do everything we can. But I'm of the mindset that just, we can't just, it's been a year. And I don't want to downplay the significance of coronavirus, because I don't want to get sick. I don't want my wife or my daughter getting sick, or my parents. I haven't seen my parents since last March, and they live in Grants Pass. So we're definitely taking this very serious. But I think the mental health of the kids and myself, just being around the gym with shoes squeaking and balls bouncing, is something that I need again. So we're going to try to do everything we can, but it'd be a retreat 3rd weekend of March. And I'll send this out to all of you guys. I know I'll get your number, Kent and Nick, if you guys just reach out, and we'll open this up in a second for questions. But in 3rd week of March, we'll have a retreat. And by retreat, I mean, we'll practice probably twice on Saturday, and then do either a hike or play wiffle ball or do something kind of team building. We'll do some boundary breaking, some icebreaker activities. And then we'll practice probably once Sunday morning or afternoon. I'm still deciding. And this whole thing is, I guess I'd say like COVID dependent. I'm the type that loves to plan. My dad was an Army officer. My brother's a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army. I'm the type that likes to plan things. So normally I'd have, okay, every Tuesday and Thursday's practice, this time to this time. But right now, it's so I hate the word unprecedented because I hear it so much, but that's because it's true, right? None of this, we've never experienced anything like this. So I'm going to do the best I can to over communicate, but tentatively it's going to be the third weekend of March. We'll have that weekend where we get together, talk about our philosophies. Prior to that, starting the first weekend of March, we will have Sunday Zoom calls similar to this, where we will go over terminology. I'm of the mindset that I don't want to teach a whole bunch of plays. I want to teach the kids to play. And I'm a believer that if in club basketball you play hard and you play together, we don't need a whole lot of plays. So we won't be practicing every week. We'll meet on Sundays, those first 2 weekends of March, on Sunday at 3 o'clock, and have a discussion. That'll be more players for the first hour. Then we'll have parents on for the last half hour with the players. And we will do that for 2 weeks, have the retreat. And then it looks like the schedule that I tentatively put together would be 3 tournaments, 2 in Idaho, and 1 in Salt Lake City. So the weekends, and I'll send this out to you guys, but just so you guys know, I wish we could play in Portland, since most of the kids now are going to be Portland kids. But I don't know what that's going to look like. Obviously, there's still a lot of unknown, but it would be April 16th through the 18th in Boise, April 29th through May 2nd or May 1st in Salt Lake. And I'll send this to you guys. So if you aren't able to write this down, I'll send it out. And then May 7th through the 9th back in Boise, or actually Nampa, Idaho, which is right near Boise. So that would be the initial season, and then we can play it by ear from there. So I do host my own tournament in Las Vegas at the end of July that I would love to have this team participate in, but I don't expect you guys to commit all the way through July. So my plan is to do those 3 tournaments. There also is one, the 1st or the April 9th and 10th in Boise, that we can put out a invitation and see how many could do it, but that's right around spring break. So people might be traveling. So that's kind of the tentative schedule would be starting March 7th, every Sunday at 3 o'clock. Well, that'd be the March 7th, 14th, and then the 21st, or let's see, that Saturday, Sunday would be the retreat. And then Zooms on the Sundays until we get to April 16th through the 18th in Boise, April 29th through May 1st in Salt Lake. Then the following weekend, the Northwest Premier Invitational in Napa. So that's kind of the schedule that we're looking at. And when I initially put this together, I was looking at having a couple kids from Idaho play and a couple kids from Reno. Unfortunately, it looks like schedules might not match up with those players, but fortunately that would mean that it's primarily Banks and Camas and Lake Oswego and Beaverton and local-ish. So practices still would be to be determined, but if it is mostly Portland, Vancouver area kids, then we might get together optionally sometime in there, even if it's just for froyo, to see the guys and socialize. But that's kind of the tentative plan. Obviously it is, if nothing spikes and we're able to do that, like I said, play hard and play together. And we're going to be thankful for the opportunity to get in a gym when we can. But until then, we're going to try to do the best we can, either outside. And there is, you guys are all from the area, you know, it does rain, but I have tips on a few undercover courts. And I'm of the mindset, I played outside a lot growing up, and I played Division I. It worked out for me. So I think a little of that toughness. I had a kid one time tell me, well, I only shoot with the Wilson Evolution. And I just laughed in his face, not really in his face. I don't want to sound like I'm a total jerk, but and then he came out and started the game and he was like 1 for 7. And it was, yeah, that was a pretty funny one. But I appreciate you guys showing up for this. There is some people that have said they want to be a part for sure. There's some that are still just kind of getting an idea of what we're doing. So I'll be following up with each of you guys, or you can follow up with me. I'm gonna put my cell phone in the chat. So if you guys are able to copy it down, if you don't have it already, if you're able to get something there, Harry, or I don't know if you have something, Nick, or if you just want to get it maybe even from Trevor, you can reach out. I know you guys are outside, so, but hopefully everybody has my number. I'm pretty good about communication. I want to under promise and over deliver, but I'm not going to under promise. I will respond to text messages and phone calls. That's something I take pride in, is communication. And again, there might be something that comes up beyond my control, but if it's within my control, you know, if I can't do something, I'm going to apologize for it and make it right. But I don't like apologizing for things that I can't control. So weather, I don't complain about the weather because I can't change it. Things like that, we're going to roll with. So I'm going to go ahead. We can open it up if there are questions or anything. You get my number, Colby?
You texted me earlier.
I'm just making sure you got it. Just making sure you got it. You got a lot of hair there. That's looking good.
Thanks.
Pretty fun. It's awesome seeing Reed with the hair on the chin and Colby with the hair up top. Doesn't look like Colby's having to shave every day yet, though. How tall are you now, Colby?
Like 6'4".
6'4", okay. And about 150?
180.
Oh, no.
180, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not fat though.
We'll see. We're gonna get you down to about 170 and get you back in shape. So hopefully before I see you, you'll spend a little time jogging and getting in shape, because otherwise might be a tough first couple workouts with Coach Miner. But I'm confident that you're gonna be ready, because you don't wait to work, you work while you wait. So I know some of you guys haven't touched the basketball in quite a while, but that's okay. Not my first choice, but you guys are young and I understand that. And some of you guys are playing baseball or football or lacrosse, or I guess, I don't know if there's rugby teams. I don't know what else you guys are doing. I'm sure you guys are playing some 2K and Fortnite or Call of Duty or some other time wasting activities. But my goal is to help you guys accomplish your goals. So one of the first things we're going to do is talk about goal setting. And if you have a goal of playing in college, then your actions have to be different than somebody who just wants to have fun. And so that way, if you guys are putting down your goals, I can hold you accountable. Because one of my favorite quotes, I have a lot of quotes, but one of them is, if your actions don't line up with your goals, change your goals or change your actions. Pretty simple, pretty basic, but if your behavior, if what you do every day isn't in alignment with your goals, then you need to change your goals and be realistic, or change your actions and behaviors. Otherwise, you're just kind of being foolish. And I'm a firm believer you can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. So my goal is to help you guys accomplish your goals. So wherever you're at, whatever you're trying to accomplish, that's why we're going to start with that, because there's kids that say they want to play college basketball, but then eat a lot of fast food and Doritos and Funyuns. I don't know if kids even eat Funyuns or have heard of Funyuns, but and don't work out and are playing 4 hours of Fortnite. You can't do that. If you have a goal of playing in college, you can't spend 4 hours a day playing Fortnite. Just, it's the actions and goals thing. I'm coming back to that, but hopefully we can work on limiting some of those distractions, because the best thing you guys can do right now as 8th graders to improve your chances of playing college basketball is get good grades, great grades. I know it seems like, I know a lot of kids are like, well, I got to work on my handle, or I got to be able to knock down the 27-footer. I've seen Trae Young shoot. Why would I need good grades? The best thing you do, I'll say it again, the best thing you can do right now to improve your chances of playing is to get your grades close as you can to a 4.0 or a 5, whatever the scale is. Satisfactories, don't go for satisfactories, go for O's. Outstanding. I don't even know what they grade kids in today. But when I was a kid, I wanted all A's. That was my goals. So, and I was able to play Division I college basketball, and none of my scholarships at the University of Portland were because of my jump shot or my handle. And I played in 21 games in college. So I was a walk-on. All my scholarships were academic, community service, leadership, student government. But that, because of my grades, I had the opportunity, the option of going to a Division I school, walking on, and getting to play when we beat Gonzaga at Gonzaga. But if I would have had a 2.8, if I wouldn't have helped our team GPA, they wouldn't need me. So I'm going to talk about a production versus problem scale. You guys know those scales where if you put something heavy on it, it weighs it down. So you have to produce more than the problems you create. So if you think about a scale, if you're creating a lot of problems and it's weighing down the problems more than what you're producing, we don't need you. So as a walk-on, I wasn't producing a lot on the floor. So if I was any type of problem or risk, I was cut. And I worked really hard to be the worst player. And that's a lesson too, you guys. Just because you work hard doesn't mean you're going to get to be the star player or start. That was just a seat at the table at the Division I levels. I had to be the hardest working guy just to get a seat at the table. That didn't mean I was going to get to eat that day. So I did play in 21 games without a turnover. You guys will hear me say that a lot because I'm trying to work that into every conversation, but because it's a national record that'll never be broken. But I think having more options, I'm gonna ask Colby, I'm gonna call on Colby. Colby, what's better, more options or less options?
More.
More options, that's your final answer.
Less options.
I'm in your head now. I'm in your head. What's better, more options? Like if you could have any restaurant in Portland to go have dinner at, or if you had to go to McDonald's, what's better, more options or less options? I'll ask it again.
More.
More. You're going to stick with that one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, coach?
Yes, coach.
So you're right. More options is better. The better students you are, the more options you'll have. And so that's the first thing I want to make sure that we're talking about is taking care of business in the classroom, because there's no need to work on your skills if you're going to be a questionable student. The second thing is keeping yourselves out of trouble. So that's, I don't think I have to worry about that. Hopefully not. You guys are in 8th grade. I know I didn't know anything, but there wasn't the internet as easily accessible when I was in middle school. And so I'm sure you guys see things and hear things that I never saw or heard, but I'll just say it. And I hope I don't have to worry about it, because I know most of you, I don't think I would, but you guys can't be doing things that are going to risk getting yourselves in trouble. So you guys, I know there's other kids whose goals are different, so their actions can be different. So they don't have goals that are as lofty as yours. So they can go out and maybe go to a party or smoke or drink or do stuff that you shouldn't be doing. So I don't think I'll have to worry about you guys, but I am going to say it so that way I know that I said it, and I'm going to record it so that way I know that I said it because I recorded it and I can go back and watch it. So if you guys are doing things off the floor that you shouldn't be, I'll just say this one. Don't do anything that's going to embarrass me, you, or your family. Don't do anything that's going to put me in a position that's going to embarrass me, you, or your family. And you don't know what's going to embarrass me. So that's kind of the wild card. So doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, might embarrass me, and I don't want the risk of being associated with my name with people that are doing things they shouldn't be doing. So that's just something that I want to get out of the way and say now, and I'll probably say it again, but you play for grit, but you also will play for the name on the back of your jersey. So if that's something, I mean, I think that's important. My name is really important to me. Mamba mentality. You guys know the Mamba mentality, show up as the best version of yourself every day. That's what I'm gonna expect out of you guys. So we're gonna play hard and we're gonna play together, and you're gonna play for the name on the front, but you're also gonna play for the name on your back. Because I know my name, Miner, when I put Miner on my chest or turn an assignment, I don't half-ass things. I don't show up to this meeting and just coast through it because, oh, this is just another thing. No, I'm bringing the best version of myself. It might be a little bit too intense for some people, but I'm gonna bring my best every day when I show up, because I think if we learn anything from the Mamba, from Kobe, is it can be taken away quickly. So every time you get on the floor, every time you get out of bed, start with the G, with gratitude. And I feel like I get excited and I start rambling. So if you guys do have questions, you guys are able to unmute and ask them. But if if it's off the record or you don't want it to be recorded, I can stop recording. If you guys do want to say anything vulgar, and don't, I hope not after that speech I gave, but is there anybody that has any questions? Like I said, I will follow up with each of you guys. We're gonna have 8, possibly 9 on grit. But we're not gonna have 10 or 11 or 12. So that's just so you guys know, I want opportunities for all the kids to be able to play. Some kids will play more than other kids. Some kids might work harder than other kids and not play as much as the other kids. That's kind of an adult grown-up lesson, is the better you are, you get a little more leeway. But it's also, I'm gonna try to treat kids not equal, but fair. Some kids deserve to be treated a little better because they're the ones that show up early and dive on the floor and take charges. And I'm not an equal opportunist. What's a good shot for one player might not be a good shot for somebody else. So my role as the coach is to try to help players know their role. So I'm not going to pigeonhole kids and say you can't dribble, but I'm also going to try to encourage you to do what you do and know who you are and get better at all areas. So that way, when it gets time, you can, I know Reese is a shooter because he practices shooting and he's a shooter. So he would have a little bit more of a green light than somebody who doesn't spend as much time practicing their shooting. I don't think Jason can dunk yet, but if he gets to the point where he can throw it down, or Colby, I'll let you have that opportunity. But you have to be able to show me that you might be able to pull like a Coach Miner-esque dunk and in practice, and then I'll give you guys the freedom to explore going up, and it's kind of fun. I don't know if you've ever got one, Colby, but when you go up and you kind of catch the guy's body and it pulls you up a little harder and then you just throw it down. It's a pretty good feeling. I'm excited for you to get that opportunity, but you got to keep jumping rope and get down to about 170, Colby. Cut some LBs and work on those calf muscles. And I ramble, I ask for questions, so we can wrap this up, and you guys, I don't need to keep you guys here. Kent, do you have something?
Yeah, you're funny, man. So I do have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
First of all, regarding practice, do you have a location that's somewhat secure as far as, obviously everything is COVID dependent, but do you have a practice location?
We don't yet, no. So the first time we would get together would be that third weekend of March. And I have leads on a couple gyms. There's one that's out in Corbett. So, but we wouldn't practice. If we do get together, it'd be once a week in person. And again, when I was coming up with this plan, I had the idea that we were gonna have probably 3 or 4 Idaho kids. And so I didn't want to have just like a halfway practice, but then now it's looking like it'll be more Portland area kids. So we might get together once a week. So I know that's far from Banks to Corbett all the way across town, but we would try to do it sometime that works. And if you can't make it, there's not severe punishments. It'd be more skill work because a lot of the team stuff that we're going to do would be on that retreat weekend and over Zoom. Just terminology, philosophy, things like that would be done over Zoom. And we'd have some homework assignments the kids would have to have done by the next week and send to me. So that way I can check. But we don't have a secured facility yet.
When is your ideal practice time for that one time a week? I mean, obviously with everybody's input, but for you personally, what would be the ideal time, day and time?
Probably in the evening, like hopefully it'd be like after traffic, which who knows right now with Portland what time that would be.
Yeah.
Because I know if you guys are coming from Beaverton, Banks, Banks.
We're in North Plains. So
you're in North Plains, pretty close out there, right? So if we're all the way out in Corbett, that's a trek. But that's where like I said, I don't treat everybody the same, because if we were practicing in North Plains and you couldn't make it, then I would weigh that differently than if it was in Corbett and you guys couldn't make one. But sure. Wednesdays and Thursdays right now are when we're practicing at 5:30 a.m. at Pacific. So evenings on Wednesdays or Thursdays would probably be when I'd look at trying to have a practice, whether that's 7 to 9. I don't want it to be too late because I know kids have school and I don't like to mess with sleep schedules, but I also don't like traffic. So we would take a poll. I'm open to suggestions. So if you guys do know of a place, because Beaverton and Banks are, kind of out that west side. So I'm open still. Like I said, I like to be the type that has everything dialed in and organized, but nobody's wanting to step up and let me rent their facility yet.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll connect with you offline on a possibility.
Okay, great.
That we have actually in Forest Grove.
Oh, so, awesome. Yeah.
It's an LDS church.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, Nick and Trevor Lane and Braden, we've been over there a few times, but it's usually during the afternoon, which is the only thing because there's nobody there. But yeah, I'll connect with you.
Yeah, let's connect offline because I know a few of the other, like Guy Littlefield. I don't know if you know Guy. He played at Forest Grove last year, and he's a freshman for us at Pacific now. And I know they have got into that LDS church some there. So yeah, even if it was one day, even if 1 day a week,
right?
That could work.
Yeah, probably like if we're to do one day, it would probably be better like a Saturday rather than a weeknight.
Yeah,
but hopefully we can figure something out.
That would be Saturdays would probably work. So yeah, let's connect offline. You were able to get my cell phone?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, great.
I do have one other question too. Is this so obviously this year with these kids in 8th grade is going to be kind of touch and go as far as the tournaments and what games we can get in and the locations and stuff. How do you see this working long term as far as maybe next year or the year after that, or is this a 1-year thing, or is this something that you're going to take with this group going forward when they're in high school? Or
that's a great question. When I was looking at doing a team, I was thinking of doing like one high school and one like younger this year, but with Oregon and Washington looking like they're going to have their high school in May and June, I decided I didn't want to step on high school coaches' toes by doing things during their season or I think there's some kids that might have to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely I want to work with high school coaches. So my plan is to kind of keep this core together of guys and then build underneath them. So next year, have this be like so this year I'm going to have one team. I'll be the head coach. It'll be your guys' team. And then next year, keep this team together and grow underneath. So maybe have another 8th grade team next year with this team. That would be like 15U. and then the next year so just kind of build underneath this class. And the reason I kind of decided that was because of not wanting to do high school this year, and Colby's 6'4" and got a lot of potential, and I wanted to keep working with him. So
Sure. Yeah. So would it be under the same time frame as the high school?
This one, yeah. So it would be next year. We're hoping, right? The high school back finishes in March, and then we'd start up like right after that.
Gotcha.
With club. So it'd be like March, April, May. Give them June off with their high school programs, because a lot of high schools do June basketball, and then pick up again in July. That would kind of be what I would look at going forward. It would be second half of March, April, May, give them June with their high school team, and then come back in July and play 2 or 3 tournaments in July.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
Great. Anything else? Is there any other questions?
I
don't think so. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just wondering, do you have any kind of ish as far as pricing?
It would be so the 3 tournaments. So the wild card's kind of the gym for that first weekend. So I put together a document. The Boise one is $325, and so I would divide by the tournament by the 8 players or 9 players, and then so $325 for that one, $425 and $325. So I'll have a better idea of that, Jody. I'll send you guys and I would incorporate my travel in there, and I'll break it all down for you guys. I like to be very transparent. So I would show you guys basically the financials, and I'm gonna include probably $100 per kid for my time, and then my travel, and then the tournament entry fees. And I probably have jerseys that we can use that say Max Hoops. I'm still deciding if I might go with like uniforms for the guys, because I think that G.R.I.T is a great team name. I'm proud of myself for having that. So it would be cool to get some uniforms that said G.R.I.T on them. And then I would just charge you guys exactly what I'm getting charged for those. So I would guess for the 3 tournaments and the weekly Zooms and the retreat, probably $500-600 is kind of the range I'm guessing. So I will put together more when I find out what the gym that we're able to rent for the retreat would be. But that would be the range I would guess would be in the $500 to $600 range for 3 tournaments. And I think that would probably include a uniform at that price. So I will have more information, because that is a great question. I know that's something you need to know. So I will, when I decide which tournaments we finalize and what the gym costs for the retreat, and then I'll look at flights to Salt Lake for myself and put together a spreadsheet and break it down so that way you guys can see. That's a great question though. Trevor, did you have something?
Yeah, all I was gonna say is after you talk with Kent, if gym becomes an issue, I know I have an inside kind of track on a private one that's opening up outside of Forest Grove coming up.
Great.
So I don't know. I know it's supposed to open up the end of February. I just don't know all the details yet. I think Kent's would be great, having used it. I think it'd be perfect. But if we can't make that work, after talking with him, let me know, and I can find out some more details on that private one.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you. I definitely will connect with you, Trevor. Anything else?